Готова?
Да.
Это вязко, братан.
No great, no terrible.
Hello world! This is Kyiv, not Kiev on the line.
My name is Polina Bachuk and this is my colleague Tanya Haiduk.
And we are here to tell you the top stories from Ukraine for the week.
But why not we start our conversation with you subscribing to our YouTube channel and clicking on the bell right in the top of the screen to follow the notifications. Ready, steady, go! We've come up with an idea to present the Ukrainian point of view on what the world media is writing about us. So here it is, coronavirus.
Yeah, I'm supposed to wear a costume of a coronavirus, but it's in Italy. These are not the news we'd really like to share. It's not the way we would want to present Ukraine, but we can't help discussing it because the whole world does.
Indeed, most of the articles with Ukraine-related headlines covered protests in Ukraine against the arrival of evacuees from China in the sanitarium of the village in Novi Sanjari. For example, the BBC wrote, "Coronavirus, Ukrainian protesters attack buses carrying China's evacuees." Residents from Novi Sanjari in Ukraine's central Poltava region had cut off the road to a sanitarium intended to host the evacuees, fearing they could become infected.
Demonstrators put up roadblocks, burned tires, and clashed with the riot police who moved to clear access.
Nobody from the evacuees actually got the virus symptoms. The quarantine is a usual procedure. It's a normal practice to organize 2 weeks long observation for those returned from a risky zone.
The problem is that nobody explained that to Ukrainians. For several weeks, the authorities could not choose a place for the quarantine, and when they finally did, they made a top secret out of it. Moreover, we still don't know if the healthcare ministry has an action plan in case the spread of a virus that is already circulating in Europe, except for the crafts they presented earlier.
All this provoked society's distrust of the government's actions, intimidated with the horrific TV news on coronavirus. That's clear, people would do anything to prevent the sick from coming to the town.
Ми просто не хочемо, щоб тут був новий Ухань.
And we don't want Ukraine to become a new Novi Sanjari story. As for the hurling stones into the buses carrying evacuees from China, we are very sorry you witnessed this shame generated by lack of awareness. According to social polls, 74% of Ukrainians condemned protests and supported those going through the quarantine.
As for now, pending the confrontations in Novi Sanjari, 10 persons were hospitalized and 24 arrested.
That brings us to a conclusion that the protest in Ukraine appears to be much more dangerous than the coronavirus.
February 26 was declared the day of resistance to occupation of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea and the city of Sevastopol. That day, 6 years ago, the largest gathering in support of the integrity and unity of Ukraine took place in Crimea. Despite Russia illegally annexed Crimea in March 2014, Crimea is Ukraine.
President Trump prolongated the American sanctions against Russia. In his message to the Congress, President Trump wrote that actions and policies of Russia, including its annexation of Crimea and its use of force in Ukraine, continue to pose an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security and foreign policy of the United States.
Ukraine ranked third in Europe in terms of growing number of electric vehicles and electric charging infrastructure, leaving behind all neighboring countries. A gradual transition to electric transport is a part of the 2030 National Transport Strategy of Ukraine.
The Ukrainian parliament shows progress in considering amendments to the draft law on the land market. The ban to sell private agricultural land was in force for 19 years, and now the situation may change. According to the World Bank, lifting the moratorium could result in 1.9% higher GDP growth per year, additional investment into agriculture is expected to reach $10 billion. Polina, have you seen that Be a Lady they said?
Yeah, with the Cynthia Nixon. That's so powerful,
Absolutely
and I
stunning.
was absolutely impressed. I shared that in Instagram.
And you know, when I first saw the video, I came up with the idea, why not making another one about some other vulnerables?
You mean?
I mean, be a good president, they said. Don't be too tough, don't be too soft, don't be intimidating. The people have needs. The people cannot control themselves. Be their leader.
Be a good president, they said. Don't be too young, don't be too old. Old is ugly, young is unprofessional. Be a cool guy, don't be like the other presidents.
Be a good president, they said. Be kind. Think out of the box. Support youth. Look confident, look good, look natural. Be ready for emergencies. Be provocative. Do not be shy to show your emotions.
Be a good president, they said. Run the state, negotiate, look for the compromises. Not like that, you the traitor. Be friendly, not over-friendly. Stay calm, no matter what they do.
Be a good president, they said.
Think of the future.
Care of your nation.
Make them be proud of your country. That's the president's job.
You'll make a good statesman someday.
Just be a good president, they say. Good news! The band Go A won the final of the Ukrainian selection to the Eurovision contest 2020 with the song Solovey,
Which means nightingale from Ukrainian.
Go A is a band from Kiev that combines modern dance vocals with the ethnic vocals.
And that sounds really powerful. Deserves your attention.
Actually, Ukraine is one of the most successful countries in the Eurovision Song Contest.
Out of 15 participations, Ukraine has
2 victories,
2 second places,
and 14 times coming into the final out of the 14 times of the participation.
fingers crossed that we'll get a chance to invite you to the Eurovision Song Contest 2021 to Kyiv, not Kiev.
By the way, thank you for sharing the comments about the most stereotypical stereotypes about Ukraine. That was very interesting to read.
Yeah, actually we are planning to ruin some of them, so it's still not too late to write down in comments what people in your country think Ukraine is about.
Yeah, thank you for watching us today.
This was Tetiana and Polina.
See you next Thursday.
And remember the most important thing. Kyiv, not Kiev.
From Ukraine with love.
And now carefully and slow.
Тихо, тихо, потихеньку.